are now listening to the Film Situation podcast.
All right, Cole. Now it's time to do the post-Oscars recap on the Film Situation podcast. So, what did you think of the Academy Awards 2026?
I think broadly, I think it was a success in terms of, for the most part, the people that I think everyone expected to win won. And I think a lot of them were rightfully deserved. And we can get into some of those categories. A couple surprises, which is always great, in a good way.
Was there any surprises in a bad way?
At least one from what I've seen.
For me, I was surprised that Marty Supreme didn't win anything.
I think that, so here's the
I was surprised
thing.
about that. And
here's the interesting thing, because I come from when I look at the Oscars, I come from a perspective of kind of understanding the betting odds and looking at how the award season goes. I am upset that it didn't win anything, as that was my favorite movie last year. However, it's not surprising considering the only thing it really had a chance to win going into the award season was Best Actor, which there was an understanding for at least a month that Michael B. Jordan kind of took that spot as the favorite going into the awards show. So I wasn't that surprised that they ended up with nothing. I think it's BS, but it wasn't surprising if you're looking at betting odds and everything, which I tend to do when going into the Oscars.
I was hoping Rose Byrne would win Best Actress, but I knew it would be more of a long shot, I guess, because
that was definitely more of a long shot than Timothée Chalamet, because Timothy was the favorite for a very long time, but Jessie Buckley was hands down, like, she won every award going into this. Still haven't watched Hamnet yet. I'm dreading watching it.
I gotta say, that's why I don't want to say too much, because I haven't seen it. And I definitely will. Now. It's on my list, obviously. Just been a busy guy.
You're a very busy man, so yeah. No one's gonna blame you.
Let's see here. Congratulations to Michael B. Jordan. I've been following him since we talked about, since he was Wallace on The Wire.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I'm a big fan. And at the end of the day, he played two different people.
I know. I know. So they should give him 2 awards. No, I thought it was awesome. Like, I know the last Oscars pod that we did, we big upped Marty Supreme, as that was both of our favorite movies of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still the case, but I know at the time it definitely was.
No, it's still my favorite movie of last year.
Same here.
Loved it more than One Battle After Another. Not that I didn't like one. To be clear, it's not that I didn't like One Battle After Another. And I'm a huge Paul Thomas Anderson fan, and I was glad to see him get his props finally. Or as you say, get his flowers.
His flowers.
He's a great director. He's one of our best directors. He's one of the best living American film directors, period. Like, everybody acknowledges that. And finally the Academy has, in that sort of way. And I for some reason, before last night, I thought he had won an Oscar. I didn't realize.
Never won one. Yeah.
I'm not like an Oscars fanatic, quite honestly. I'm not one of these guys that's like up on all the Oscar stats.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Not that I don't appreciate it, but it's not something that I've followed very closely throughout my life in that sort of capacity. Because films are subjective at the end of the day. It's not like the Olympics, like, okay, this person definitively won this race versus this other person. It's
100%.
It's like opinions, tastes. Did the people really see all the films? Are they going with what they kind of feel like is the trend? Or is there political aspects at play? Is there popularity contest things at play? All those things matter,
100%. And I think for me, I know we kind of briefly touched on this at the last podcast episode we did, our love-hate relationship with the Oscars. And kind of to, amplify what you were saying, the Oscars, I think everyone agrees, means nothing. at the
No, it
end of the
doesn't mean
show,
like it doesn't mean nothing. Like
it
it's
does
still
exactly, and that's
like
that's what I was gonna,
like any filmmaker, myself included, would be over the moon to win an Oscar. Like, so I want to be clear about
exactly.
that. I don't want to sound like like some alternative band from the 90s, like, yeah, the Oscars is selling out, bro. I would give
Yeah,
mine away. Like, you know what I mean? No, like,
yeah.
no, like it's an amazing achievement. Paul Thomas Anderson said something brilliant that I wish we could pull up. In
Was it
19
what he said at the end? The
yeah, about
Spectre speech where he brought up
1975, the Jaws, Barry Lyndon.
I just want to say that in 1975, the Oscar nominees for Best Picture were Dog Day Afternoon, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Jaws, Nashville, and Barry Lyndon. There is no best among them. There is just what that mood might be that day.
But that, to me, that's the sentiment. And, I like that he said that, because he's sort of giving props to all the other filmmakers and saying it's a good movie year, which I agree. In a lot of ways it is.
So let me clarify something. When I said they don't matter or it means nothing, I mean that in the sense of, I think no one's personal taste or opinions should be, catered to whatever the award show says, any award show. And I don't think movies in general, from a broad sense, should be like funded just because this person won an Oscar, that person won an Oscar. So at the end of the day, it is arbitrary. All award shows are arbitrary at the end of the day. That being said, exactly like what you said, it still means something in the history of film, right? We have kind of come to this moment in culture for many years, and obviously the Oscars have been on a downward trend over the past few years, but they're still talked about every year. And it's very obvious that
Is it a downward trend just in terms of viewers?
Viewership, yes, viewership. Yeah. And I think the mentality towards the Oscars, the more time has gone on, has been very cynical, and I think rightfully so. But
I think also people realize we're in a day and age where people realize how the sausage gets made a little bit more.
Exactly. Well. That's the biggest. That's the biggest aspect of it. But there's no denying that, Michael B. Jordan, for the rest of his life, will be able to put Academy Award winner on every poster and every trailer from here on out. And that means something, not just for the movies, but also for his pockets. You know what I mean? So it does mean something. And in history books, he's now the 6th Black man to ever win Best Actor in a Leading Role. That's huge. That's such a small number of people that are, that have won that award who are African-American over the 98 years of the Academy. So it does mean something.
Will Smith was the last guy to win it.
Yeah. And no one remembers that because the player remembers the other
right
that night.
Yeah, which is crazy. It was crazy.
Which is a shame. Honestly. But can you name all 6 award winners? I'm sure you can, but I'm just curious.
No, I can't actually, because like I said, I really don't follow. Let me guess. Denzel Washington has got to be on that list.
Yes.
Okay. Forrest Whitaker.
Yes, he is on that list.
I don't know the other ones, honestly. Morgan Freeman should be on that list, but I don't think he is.
That is true. He should be. He is not.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. One of them was a member of In Living Color.
Jamie Foxx?
Yes. For
really?
Ray.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the other one is
that was
Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, okay.
Little history lesson.
I remember, like, for some reason I wasn't into that movie Ray.
I need to rewatch it. It's been a very long time. I remember,
like, I was trying to watch it, but again, I think I was in college. But so I need to give it more of a chance, but I just remember not being able to, like, connect with it.
It's a movie I haven't seen in a long time. I don't love.
It felt a little slow paced, I think.
Maybe I don't love musical biopics in general. So, just because they're all very formulaic in how they're plotted. But I remember really being like taken aback by his performance. Like, his performance was genuinely great from what I can remember. But yeah, no, I don't remember much about the movies, so I won't say too much, but I feel like I agree with you, probably. I need to rewatch it, though. But going back to Michael B. Jordan, man, I thought it was awesome. He's just, like you said, he has been in everyone's lives in America for such a long time as a kid on The Wire, at the character of Wallace, and then seeing his progression to this point and just being someone that everyone seems to love, not just within Hollywood, but, the public loves Michael B. Jordan. And it's really cool to see him win, and his speech was great as well. And to see the entire room stand up and applaud for him. It was really awesome to see, like you said, him get his flowers. You know what I mean? He's been at the top of his game for such a long time. It was really cool to see that.
It's also noteworthy is that best casting is a new category.
Yes.
In the Oscars. I do think Jennifer Venditti was robbed of Marty Supreme. I absolutely think she should have definitely won over One Battle After Another. Now, I'm not saying that Cassandra Kundis, I don't know how you pronounce it, so sorry if I butchered it, Cassandra Kundis, but Jennifer Venditti did an outstanding job in Marty Supreme. Like every single extra even was exquisitely cast.
I agree. I think that Marty Supreme is going to be a movie, give it 5-10 years, people are going to look back on and be like, oh man, that movie didn't win anything. Like this was a heavy hitter year. I'm not entirely upset by many of the wins or surprised. I don't disagree with that assessment. I think casting is an interesting one because, like you said, it's the first year that they're doing it. And the favorite going into last night was Francine Maisler for Sinners, because I mean that's also a really great casted film, and she's been doing it for such a long time, and a lot of people just thought like, oh, it's a great cast and she's a legend, maybe they'll give it to the legend tonight. And it went to Cassandra Kulakundis, like sorry if I butchered that name as well, which I'm not mad at either. I thought it was also really greatly casted, but it's going to be interesting moving forward with this award because every Oscars historically have certain award wins throughout the night that kind of give you a hint as to what movie will win Best Picture. And I'm curious if this is going to end up being one of those awards where whoever wins casting is more than likely to win Best Picture as well. But I guess, we'll see as time goes on.
Yeah, I wish there was like some way to verify if all the voting members have actually seen all of the films. Because it's on the merit system, but like
it's very interesting because this year was the first year they implemented some sort of software where I genuinely have to look it up, and maybe I could look it up right now and skim through it real quick. But there was something that they actually implemented this year that basically forced every single member of the voting body to watch every single movie and to actually vote on it. I personally feel that way about other categories because I agree. Sometimes I wonder, did they actually watch all the movies? I already feel that way about the nominees. Whenever a voting body nominates their films, I'm like, did this voting body watch all of the movie, all the documentaries, all of the short films? There's no way. Because I feel like, especially in those categories, they almost never pick the best ones that come out that year. So I agree with that. Casting, I don't feel that way entirely about casting, but I'm not like, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. But
by the way, the short, one of the shorts that won, there was a tie for the two short films that won, and
yes,
two people changing saliva. I haven't seen these short films yet, but a shout out to Albanian actress from Kosovo, Luana Bayrami, for starring in that film.
There you go. Nice.
So, Albanians are on the come up.
They are. Get ready for Mimosa.
Exactly.
Come to the theater near you.
It's going to be in that next level. And also Vicky Creeps, who's in the movie narrating the short film, who was also in Phantom Thread, Paul Thomas Anderson's Phantom Thread, which was an incredible film.
Love that movie. Yeah, it was
Same.
the Singers and Two People Exchanging Saliva that won that first
It's such
tie
an
in,
interesting
I think,
title.
13 years. It is a very interesting title. It's a very interesting title. Yeah, that was fun to watch. That was one of like the surprises in a good way. We haven't had a tie, and I think it was 13 years that this happened. I forget what it was for, but I think it was like sound editing. That the last tie happened, and it's always interesting. I forget that in these categories, a tie is possible. The way they vote on the best picture winner, it's, I believe, impossible to get a tie because they do a rank vote system. But with these, it's just whoever gets the vote wins. So it's always fun to get a tie. And yeah, I picked the Singers to win. I didn't watch that. That was just what the odds were favorited on. So that was cool that I got that one right. But I do want to check out Two People Exchanging Saliva because I have heard good things about that short film.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any other thoughts about the Oscars 2026?
Yeah, for sure. I got lots of thoughts. I mean, I want to shout out Ryan Coogler winning an Oscar as well for Best Original Screenplay.
That was well deserved. That was a great script.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that
awesome,
was absolutely deserved.
awesome script. Like I thought about that as I was watching the film. I'm like, man, this is. And then when I found out he was the sole writer of the film, I'm like, wow, he's a great writer.
Amazing. And I mean, even like, I don't know if we talked about this, but the scene that everyone talks about in the film, where they're at the juke joint and it's a oneer, and they're going through the different, generations of all these different cultures, which is an amazing sequence. And I kept thinking to myself every time I watched that scene, how the hell did he write that? You know what I mean? Like there's certain things where I know some directors kind of like, oh, this happens. And then they have so much trust by their cast and crew that they know, oh, well, on paper, it may not have been that crazy, but wait till he films it. I kept seeing interviews from people saying how brilliantly he wrote that scene. I was like, dang, I just don't know how he wrote that. So I was totally hyped up when he had that win. That was a very predetermined win. A lot of people assumed that was going to happen, and it did happen, and I'm happy it happened. Oaktown represent. That was good shit. I was very happy about that.
Oaktown in the house, baby.
Oaktown in the house, which, to be clear, again, I don't want people to misunderstand. I'm not from Oakland or near the Bay Area whatsoever, but I love it. You know what I mean?
Right. You got that pride anyway.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. That was huge. And I mean, going back to Paul Thomas Anderson, his first award was for adapted screenplay. That was the first time he went up on stage before he won for director and then, picture. That was just such a cool moment. Like as a huge Paul Thomas Anderson fan myself, There Will Be Blood's one of my favorite films. Magnolia is a classic in my book personally. I love all of his movies, and to see him finally win one was really awesome. But to kind of see him up there and talk about his kids and how he birthed that film from, of course, it was written by Thomas Pynchon, Vineland, but how it was birthed from this idea of what we leave behind to our kids. And you could tell there was a lot of, it was very personal for him, that film, as somebody who is married to Maya Rudolph, a Black woman, has biracial children. A big part of the film is Leonardo DiCaprio's character having a Black daughter. And there's even a moment in the film, a beautiful moment, where he talks, I think it's to Benicio del Toro, about how, he doesn't even know how to like do her hair. It's this very touching and sad moment that you could feel how personal it was for Paul Thomas Anderson. So to see him get an award for a movie that felt so personal to him in so many ways, I thought was really cool. It was really cool to see him finally win one, for sure.
Yeah, definitely well deserved accolades for Paul Thomas Anderson. I will say maybe the only bright side of Josh Safdie not having won is it might give him that much more fuel to the fire of like, it might not that I'm thinking that he would have been complacent as a filmmaker after that, but it just might give that much more. Like, you know what? I'm going to give even this much more to my next film. You know?
100%. And you know, it's what's so interesting about the history of the Oscars is that there are a lot of, you could go through the Rolodex of directors that have won Oscars and then have gone on to make their blank check movie, right? You know, they've gone on to do all these great things. They've made money for studios. They've won awards. Now make whatever the hell you want, right? But there's also a history of people that win Oscars, specifically actors and actresses, that go on and do nothing, and they just can't find work after that. And there's a lot of factors to this, but sometimes historically it actually may be better to do well. And Marty Supreme did very well. It did great at the box office, highest grossing A24 movie of all time. And you know, the Safdies are on a different level now, especially Josh, since he was the sole director of Marty Supreme. And I am certain that
I still think, by the way, that Dwayne Johnson should have been nominated at least for The Smashing Machine, because his performance was really good. And I have issues with the film, maybe like on a script level specifically. But as far as his performance was great.
Yeah, he was definitely making the rounds during the awards season. I think he was even nominated at the Globes, but it just seemed to have lost a lot of steam very quickly. It's so interesting how the awards work because, you know, again, from a level on somebody that loves film and loves art, I feel like I'm betraying everything that, like, my own morality when it comes to my love for art, when I'm like, oh yeah, you know, Dwayne Johnson lost steam, when I should be saying, man, F that, he should have been nominated. However, I also love sports, and I kind of look at these as sports. And it was really interesting to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson lose so much steam when he was going in with a full head of it. He was doing crazy interviews left and right. He was doing the awards cycle. He did that one-on-one Vanity Fair interview with Brendan Fraser, which was great. You know, just all this. And
I didn't watch that. I got to watch it. I love that series. Have you ever seen the one with Brad Pitt from a few years ago and Adam Sandler?
Yes, I did watch that.
That was a great one.
That is a great one. I love them because, you know, it kind of just humanizes them a little bit more. Usually, even though it's still a lot of PR is involved still, you know, they're not asking crazy questions.
By the way, can I say that I loved since our last talk, I did watch Begonia, and that's one of my favorite films of the year.
Great movie.
It was so great. I loved it.
Great film. I heard you talking about it to Nick Gomez, because he brought it up as one.
That's right. After, he brought it up. It made me want, that prompted me to put it on the fast track to watch it, and it was incredible. Loved it.
It's so good. That was my birthday present for my older brother. He's like, "Oh, let's go watch this." And we went out of town because they weren't playing it in town.
Oh, nice.
And it was. I loved it. I'm a Yorgos Lanthimos fan personally, and I know a lot of people that don't care for his style and they didn't really like the ending. I get it, but I just thought what that movie was.
I love the ending, man. The ending was like such a payoff of the film for me. I was what? This is incredible.
I think the ending, I know a lot of people that are like, man, I wish it was ambiguous. I liked it more that it wasn't. I
love the fact that they went there, you know?
Yes.
Because it was an interesting dynamic, and there's a whole other conversation. He's really, Lanthimos, I think it was like his magnum opus, honestly, this film.
Yeah.
But I think it's the best thing he's ever done, for sure. But he went there, but it doesn't make the protagonist's character, like Jesse Plemons' character, a good guy all of a sudden. Like, he was correct about his assumption. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
she's an alien. All right.
Spoilers.
But
sir. That was what I loved about it. There's so much nuance and also just the character of, and I'm forgetting his name because I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters a few months ago. But the cousin character, the the uh the one who, again, spoiler, the one who kills himself.
oh right, yeah, he was great.
He was phenomenal, and I love what that character seemed to represent in the totality of the film. Because you're absolutely right. My takeaway was, regardless of if Jesse Plemons is right, he is still not a good person and has killed people. He admitted that he killed multiple people trying to find out who the Andromedons are. Right. So he's still a serial killer at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Not a good guy. And you can also, he gets humanized in the sense of, yes, a lot of these things and these systems that were put in place failed him, that might have put him over the edge. But it's interesting because Emma Stone is this billionaire alien, and she has all this power. And because of all this power, Jesse Plemons looks at Emma Stone's like, it's because of you that my mom is in the situation she's in, and I'm like this, and I need to, find out the truth. But then you see Jesse Plemons' character, and he is no better in terms of the power dynamic than Emma Stone is to him when he's talking to his cousin. He takes advantage of his cousin at every turn.
Very astute point, for sure.
There's no difference in terms of how he treats the cousin to how Emma Stone treats him, or how he views Emma Stone to treat him if she is this alien, which she is. And it's just kind of the cyclical thing that never ends. And who ends up truly getting hurt at the end of the day? Everyone else. And he killed himself. The cousin literally killed himself because he just couldn't take it anymore. The scene that broke my heart was,
broke my heart too. And the actor that played the cousin was actually a guy on the spectrum, which that was nice to see.
Yes.
Not that I think it always has to be that way. I'm not a person that's like, no, you always have to cast the person that it is. You know what I mean? But
it added authenticity.
And it was great to see that guy have a chance to play such a role.
I agree.
I
agree.
Sean Penn, I don't think he should have won the Oscar for this one. He wasn't even there. Not that automatically negates you, but it's just like, all right, dude, like, you know what I mean? Like, how hard did you even want it? Give it to Benicio del Toro or any Delroy Lindo, any one of those guys, like Stellan Skarsgård,
I think, I will say, in the Academy's defense, obviously they couldn't project if he was going to show up. There is
no, for sure. That I'm not really saying that as a criteria, but what I'm saying it as, it's not like he even really cares if he won or not,
I agree. It definitely feels weird. Like, you don't care enough to show up. And all these other people showed up, and you win the award, you're not even there to accept it. I will say that is the most Sean Penn thing to do. So I'm not
such a Sean Penn thing to do.
It is a very Sean Penn thing. I mean, this guy literally met El Chapo. I'm not surprised. Sean Penn literally just flies to war-torn countries just cause. I shouldn't say just cause, but I mean, he does. So I'm not surprised. Like, whenever you hear him talk or in interviews, whenever he does take them, he is very much anti-establishment, doesn't really care to an extent. He cares about the craft, but in its purest form, kind of almost like a Marlon Brando type philosophy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
In terms of his feelings towards, I think, Hollywood as an industry. And, I mean, him not showing up, I am not at all surprised. It's really funny, though, now that Sean Penn wasn't there to accept the award, probably because he didn't care, but he is now in rare company as being one of 8 people in Academy history to have 3 or more Oscars. And he didn't even show up to his 3rd one. It's wild.
That is wild.
Absolutely wild. But that was an interesting point of the night. I personally agree. I think, Benicio del Toro was great. Stellan Skarsgård was great. Even Delroy Lindo, I thought, did an amazing job. Sean Penn did a great job too. But if we're going off,
he did do a great job, but
if we're going off the premise of,
Yeah.
Man, you should have been there, dog. I if I'm looking
I
at
saw
everyone else, I
somebody,
really like
and
those other
I'm not saying I co-sign with this statement, but it did make me chuckle. It's like shitty dude playing a shitty person.
That is funny, actually.
Dude, that'd be fat.
That is funny. That is.
I don't know.
But, no,
I don't want to say that about Sean. Maybe he's awesome in real life. Like I truly don't know.
Yeah, I think Sean Penn. I think Sean Penn is really. Here's how I look at Sean Penn personally. This is just my opinion, and I'm totally fine with people disagreeing with me, or I'm just totally off, and I'm fine with this. I think that there are a lot of people that do the like shithead, I don't care about anything actor thing, but I think a lot of people do it as an aesthetic. I don't feel that way when it comes to Sean Penn. It doesn't feel like an aesthetic to me. It feels like something that he just, when he's talking about something, he truly believes that thing. When he doesn't care about something, he truly doesn't care about that thing. Like I said, this guy literally goes to war-torn countries. It's one thing to act as if you don't care as an aesthetic, but this man literally just takes years off of working just so he can meet El Chapo and take a photo shoot with him. Now, I mean, if we get into the nitty-gritty, I don't know exactly what he does when he goes to these places, so I don't want to give him too much
exactly.
credit.
There's a lot of speculation about that kind of thing.
Lots of speculation, but
It seems like you've heard some of that speculation before.
I absolutely have. But if I'm just looking at this from an outsider looking in, I can at least appreciate that, to me at least, it feels a little bit more authentic than other people that are actors that try to do the same thing, where it feels more like cosplay to me. And it doesn't when it's him doing it. Not to say that's good or bad. It's just, I will give the slight edge over feeling authentic than not.
Did you ever see Carlito's Way?
Absolutely.
I love that movie. He's so great in that movie.
He's amazing. That's a movie that I think a lot of people love that movie and have gone back and said, man, maybe Sean Penn maybe he should have won for that movie instead.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have gotten recognized.
Dave, you're a lawyer, man. I just love that part where he's like, Dave, you're a lawyer, man.
He's so good in that movie.
He's so off the rails in that movie.
He is very off the rails. He's good in every movie I've seen him in. Sean Penn is a great actor.
That's true. He doesn't phone it in. I'll give him that. He doesn't phone it in.
He never phones it in. And I will say, I think that I love Benicio del Toro in One Battle After Another, but I think for a while when the conversation was, is Benicio going to win? Is Stellan Skarsgård going to pull it out? And there was a lot of Delroy Lindo heads out there being like, nah, it's going to be Delroy, get ready. There's a lot of Delroy Lindo heads out there like, it might be him, which I thought would have been really cool. At the end of the day, when I think about it, and especially when that movie came out, everyone was talking about Sean Penn. Like, Sean Penn was the talk of that movie for a long time because his character was so just brash, outlandish, but also terrifying at the same time. And he truly transforms in that role. And I shouldn't honestly be that surprised that he ended up winning. It is just interesting though, because it felt like it came so late in the award season. He won the BAFTA, he won the SAG. So everyone was like, he's probably going to win the Oscar as well, which he did. But Benicio and Stellan were kind of battling for that win for a while. And, I mean, hey, good for Sean Penn. 3-time Academy Award winner is insane. That's wild to me, because I feel like he's just not in that many movies, which that's his choice. But it's just crazy to think that he's 3 now.
How many actors, and forgive me if you mentioned this already, how many are in that 3-time category?
I believe he is one of 8 out of it's insane company that he is in. Very few people have done it. I can't even name all of them off the top of my head. I know like Daniel Day-Lewis is in there. I think Audrey Hepburn is in there as well. But yeah, 3 or more. There's very, very few actors or just people in general that have done that feat. But I think his is specifically the actors. Out of the actors, there's only 8 actors to ever do that.
Yeah.
Insane.
So
I mean, congrats to him, even though he wasn't there.
Congrats to him. Congrats to all the winners. And do you have any other last thoughts here?
I did actually. Do you mind if I get on my soapbox real quick about
Go on your
something?
soapbox, man.
I need to get something off my chest because this has been, and feel free at any point to chime in with anything. I need to talk about the Timothée Chalamet controversy. I have to talk about it.
About the ballet thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't speak on that because I've only read a little bit. Like, he said something. I don't know what he exactly said. I don't know the context. I don't know.
That's totally fair.
His context is everything.
I agree. That's totally fair. And I would hate to put you on the spot. So I don't want you to feel forced to say anything. And anybody listening, I want them to know.
Say I'm a fan. I like Timothée Chalamet. I loved his performance in Marty Supreme.
I loved his performance as well.
To me, he seems like a likable guy when I see him in interviews. I'm pro Timmy. I'll say that.
I'm pro Timmy Cham as well. And just full disclosure for any podcast listeners, everything I'm about to say, Zef does not co-sign. Okay, it is out of my mouth, so don't give him any shit if you're upset about what I'm going to say.
All right, I appreciate that disclaimer. Also, one thing I do want to note is he's somebody that before he blew up, I was basically paying attention to. Like he was in some indie films. I was like, oh, this guy's really good. This is somebody I would love to work with. Back when he was gettable for indie film.
Dude, yes, that's true. No, I get you. I mean, I think Call Me by Your Name was his first really big break in a lot of ways. But I mean, even before then, he was in some stuff. I can't remember the little roles that he was in that he really stuck out.
People love that movie, Call Me by Your Name, but it's not really my cup of tea.
You're not one of them, bro. No. I love that movie.
I could see it's a well-made film, but it's Luca just that's not one that I'm itching to watch again.
That's fair. Are you a Luca Guadagnino fan?
No.
At all? Is that no? Really? Okay. Yeah. I'm a what I say. I said Delroy Lindo head. I'm a Luca Guadagnino head. I love Challengers. I love Bones and all. Yeah, I'm all in.
I haven't seen Challengers, so I'll check it out. I'll give it a chance.
Challengers is dope. Okay, I'm gonna get on my soapbox real quick. It's just something I've been thinking about now that the Oscars have been over for, it's been basically a full 24 hours. So I'm gonna preface what I'm gonna say by saying that what Timothée Chalamet said, I do think was a bit boneheaded. I think that
what did he say specifically? And I think he said it when Matthew McConaughey was interviewing him. Is that right?
Yes. So I'll give you the exact quote. I will give you the exact quote because I don't want to put words in his mouth and I don't want to be doing all that. So I'll give you the exact quote. I'll tell you what he said in essence, and then I'll tell you the exact quote. What he said in essence was basically that he doesn't want to be doing ballet or opera. He doesn't want to be doing any of those things because there are things that he doesn't care about, is what he said. Now, that within itself is not that big of a deal. I understand what he's trying to say. I get the point that he's trying to make. It's just the way he said it. It made a lot of people feel some type of way because it seems like he's just hand waving opera, ballet. And then he also made he kind of recognized what he said probably wasn't the right way to word it because he then followed that up with, he's like, I shouldn't have said that. I just lost 14 cents for viewership right now for saying that. Kind of poking fun at the fact that ballet and opera are these really old, I guess, quote unquote, dying art forms. And his whole point was he just wanted to be someone that was known and doing things that he felt like mattered. And he felt like the movies matter. And the context, and not the context, but it implied that ballet and opera don't really matter. And even if that's true on a wide scale, a lot of people had a lot of problems with what he said. I'm looking up the exact quote, but just based on what I told you, how do you feel?
I don't know. It doesn't bother me as much as it's bothering other people. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's worse what Tarantino said about specific actors. Like if he was like, oh, this, Pavarotti, he's not a talented guy. You know what I mean? Like if you're singling out individual people, he's just kind of giving what his own personal tastes are. And sometimes people do things like tongue in cheek. Like I used to always say to people like cinema is such a superior art form to theater. And I kind of said it tongue in cheek, but kind of said it like, because it's a medium that lasts forever. Do I really believe that? Is that really what's in my heart? Do I think like theater doesn't matter? No, I'm a filmmaker. So like me caring about cinema is more important to me. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't negate the fact that like theater isn't important, So I don't know how much gravity we should put on one thing that's said on an interview, because then if people start to self-center everything that they say, that they're going to sound like fucking politicians and everything's going to be a bunch of bullshit. I'd rather somebody kind of be slightly unfiltered versus like, then you have to say the most polished thing that's like 100% correct all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, maybe like there's some good that's coming out of what he said, because now it's like people are going to fiercely defend opera and ballet, and it might drive up opera and ballet. So like, you know what I mean? Maybe there's, I don't know, it just doesn't, I'm not that fired up about it. Like it doesn't bother me that much.
And you shouldn't be, because I agree, it's not that big of a deal.
Not that big of a deal, And
it really,
I think people gotta have a sense of humor about things a little bit too. Like,
and I will say though, to clear up what he said, because I agree with what you're saying about, sometimes you say things that are tongue in cheek. I would recommend watching the clip at least. You can watch the whole interview if you want, but I would recommend watching the clip.
I started watching that interview. Is the funny thing.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Before I knew about the controversy, I just saw it, and it was like one of those things where I was watching actors on actor. Then I started watching that. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. But I think I just stopped watching because it was late at night, and I just didn't watch the whole thing because it was like a long interview.
Yeah. Well, I would recommend, like, if you don't want to finish the interview because it's long, just watching that clip in full. I will say, to be honest about the clip, he definitely wasn't saying it tongue in cheek. I think he said how he felt, but the reason I said what he said was boneheaded was because you can tell he
what were the literal words again?
We don't care about, and then ballet, insert opera. We don't care about that. Because what he was specifically trying to talk about was how he wants to stick around doing movies, which makes sense. He's a movie actor. I know he's done theater.
I don't see the big deal, dude. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not saying what When I say it was boneheaded, what I mean specifically is that obviously, if you say we don't care about X, Y, and Z thing, I don't care about this, I don't care about that, and you're someone who is an actor in the arts, and ballet and opera are also a part of the arts, you should expect that people are going to be fired up about it. And so listen, I understand why. I'm not saying people don't have the right to be fired up about it. I'm just saying I'm not one of them.
I don't think I'm not one of them either. But I will say, like, I'm totally going back to.
You're taking the thing that Doja Cat said and then retracted.
Oh yeah, no, I don't really listen to anything she says, if I'm honest. I'm just gonna she says a lot of shit. So I thought it was kind of funny for some reason. I don't know. Because she's hilarious. That's why.
That's
why it was funny. Anytime she says something, it's usually funny, whether it's ridiculous or not. I thought it was pretty funny. No, but it was boneheaded in that sense. And I'm fine with the criticism. I'm totally.
I think that too, Cole. Like, like I grew up. I was like a kid in the '90s, and it was like a iconoclastic period where, like with alternative music, like making fun of institutions and kind of, I sort of come from that era of like, hey, don't take everything overly seriously,
And I don't take it seriously, and I'm fine with someone like Misty Copeland, feeling some type of way, because she was someone that was approached by Timothée Chalamet to promote Marty Supreme. And for anyone that doesn't know who Misty Copeland is, I believe if she's not one of, if not the biggest ballet dancer in America, she's like the most famous ballet dancer in the entire world, living ballet dancer that still does, that still works today. And she was approached by Timothée Chalamet and their team to promote Marty Supreme. And I could see her feeling some type of way about it, feeling slighted a little bit. I could understand that. So I'm fine with people that have a problem with what he said, defending ballet, defending opera. I'm fine with people who are opera singers, who are ballet dancers, going in and feeling some type of
I'm fine with that
criticizing
too,
Tim
by the way,
Kardashian.
Yeah.
I think most people should be, and I'm cool with that. It's fair game at that point, right? The floodgates have been
absolutely,
open. It's fair
absolutely.
game. And the thing is this though, all right, and this is when I'm gonna get on my soapbox. And again, I genuinely don't mind. Please interrupt me because and chime in because I'm gonna go on. The average person does not give a flying fuck, and I know this because I've talked to a lot of people about this, and these are people that love movies just as much as I do.
Doesn't give a flying fuck about what he said, you mean?
Yes, and give a flying fuck about what he said in the sense of they don't see it as a big deal. Even if they disagree with what he said, they don't think it's that big of a deal. And I'm of that party. I don't know if I necessarily agree with even the point he was trying to make, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I guess that's how I look at it.
But the way it's discussed online, which you got to expect this online because everyone's going to discuss things like this online, but also by other known actors within the industry, you would think this dude killed their cat. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, even Steven Spielberg was like going in.
Even Steven Spielberg said, and that was unprompted. He added that by himself. That was unprompted. He wasn't asked about Timothée Chalamet's comments. He made a slight at him on his own. That is how Hollywood feels. And the reason I wanted to bring this up and why it feels so weird to me is because last night there were more than one time when he was the butt of a joke. I'm fine with that. Be a butt of a joke. Conan, the first joke he made was at the expense of Timothée Chalamet about the ballet and opera comments. And Timothée Chalamet, he yucked it up with him. It wasn't a big deal. Some people have said that the inclusion of Josh Groban during Conan's monologue was also a slight at Timothée Chalamet. I think people are looking a little bit too much into it, but that's what some people are saying. But the other two things that happened that to me seemed obvious was the Academy announced, going back to Misty Copeland, that she was going to perform. Again, one of the great ballet dancers ever. So if you can get her on your stage to perform, you're going to get her on your stage. But she was announced to perform live during the live version of I Lied to You from Sinners. Just a couple days before the award show, well after it was announced that was going to be performed, and well after all this controversy was coming out. And at the end of the performance, she was front and center, spotlight on her. She did her thing. She killed it. But it was hard to not feel like that was the Academy making some sort of statement against Timothée Chalamet, who was right there in the front row watching the whole thing. So that was one, or two or three technically, but one from the Academy, the telecast itself. The other came from one of the winners of live action short. I forget the gentleman's name, so I'm sorry, but I believe he was one of the two people that won the Oscar for Two People Exchanging Saliva. And he made a very pointed comment at Timothée Chalamet, talking about the importance of theater and ballet. And everyone kind of like, oh, because they all knew who he was talking about. And I think he looked at him when he said it. So he kind of became the villain last night. And to me, that puts a bad taste in my mouth because I don't know if you remember this, but only a year ago, Carla Sofia Gascon was nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role. First trans woman to ever do it. Big deal. But old tweets had come up, and when I say old tweets, we're only talking 2 to 4 years old, so not that old, had come up where she was saying some vile fucking shit on X. Vile, racist, Islamophobic. She was going in. And it's just really weird to me. The optics of it don't look good. I don't want to make a straw man, but the optics of it don't look good when it seems like the Academy and Hollywood at large is going harder on Timothée Chalamet than they were for someone who called Islam, and I quote, a hotbed of infection for humanity, and likened the 2021 Oscars to an Afro-Korean festival and called it an ugly, ugly gala. I think we got to prioritize this type of energy and who we're giving it to. That's all I'm going to say. Overall, though, I was mostly okay with the award show. I actually, You know, I think the telecast was all right, and I think the wins were largely predictable, and I'm not really mad at them. Like, I could look at the casting one, and I can agree with you. I think the casting of Marty Supreme is great, but I'm not mad that one battle won. I wouldn't say it got snubbed. I think it got snubbed in the sense that it should have won something, but I wouldn't say that that was category that I got snubbed in. I think Sinners winning what it did, I thought was awesome. Um, I was overall happy with a lot of the wins, and yeah, it was a very strong Oscars year. So, you know, I think we would have been rioting if F1 had won Best Picture. So the fact that it didn't, I think, is a good sign.
You know, it's a movie that sort of got dissed, and a lot of people put in like a sentimental category, but I actually thought it was a really good movie. It was Jay Kelly.
I agree. I actually really like that movie.
I like that
really
movie
like
a lot, and I think if we were in like 20 years ago, it would have definitely been nominated.
Oh, 1,000,000,000%. I think
I think
Noah
people just
Baumbach-
have like a no, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I think Noah Baumbach. It's. I hope he makes something again that gets more recognition because he deserves more flowers. I think personally.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. And Jay Kelly, when people are like, "Oh yeah, that movie was sweet," but it's like it was bittersweet, and it really showed the level of sacrifice that I think this somebody on that level. It felt very authentic, and I don't know. I thought it was a really strong story that should have at least been nominated over F1, for example. You know,
sure.
And I don't want to like throw
1,000,000,000%.
that kind of shade at F1. I just don't think that F1.
You're already doing it. Throw it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, it's a good movie, and it's a good like box office sort of popcorn kind of movie. But like, it's, you know, as far as like an Oscar contender, I think Jay Kelly would be like more of a, like in 20 years, like, oh, okay, like that's like a movie that moves people more in a certain way, like, you know, has more of an emotional resonance as a story, you know?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think even nominating Weapons for Best Picture makes more sense than F1. It was already nominated for supporting actress, and Amy Madigan won, which was awesome, huge for her. But yeah, I think the problem with F1, and I think this is why everyone feels this way about F1, and it's kind of become one of like the butts of everyone's jokes when talking about the Best Picture noms, is that I think it's just all the Academy had really strong movies overall in that category that people had very strong feelings about. Even if you hated something, you had a very strong reaction to it. F1 is just fine. I don't like there's nothing controversial about that movie. There's nothing about that movie that pushes the needle. The visual effects are great. The cinematography is really good and the racing sequences. But like, if I'm being honest, I watched it with my wife, had a good time, don't remember anything about it afterwards. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is a place for movies like that in Hollywood. But when we are talking about the Oscars and we're talking about the best movies of the year, it's really easy to look at F1 and say, why? When there's been such great movies like Jay Kelly, you know? Like, shoot, even like If I Had Legs, I'd kick you. Only be nominated for one Oscar as well. Like, it's it's funny. It feels funny. It looks funny. And yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy that it has an Oscar over Marty Supreme. That's what I think is crazy. That's what I think is wild.
Yeah.
Marty Supreme completely.
Marty Supreme was great. It definitely got snubbed in a hardcore way. And so I wasn't loving that. But at the same time, that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess, really. Like, you know?
It is. And I think the thing is too, like when we're talking about snubs, right? You have to look at what else was nominated. I think that's really important. I can say that let's say I would have preferred to see Marty Supreme win Best Casting. Maybe I'm a Timmy Cham head and would have preferred to see him beat out Michael B. Jordan. But I look at who won instead of Marty Supreme, and I can't personally really be mad at the results. I may not agree with it, But
I think it should. I would have voted for it for Best Picture over One Battle After Another personally.
I would have voted for it as my number one, as that was my number one movie of the year. But One Battle After Another was lauded critically, publicly. Like the audience members seemed to love it. The critics seemed to love it. I loved it. It was my second favorite movie last year. So I'm not mad that it was.
Begonia was my second favorite movie last year.
Really?
Then,
I think Begonia was 7 for me. I have to look it up again.
Really? Number 7 out of 7? Wow. But you didn't even see Hamnet, you said.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm not talking out of
or F1.
Or I'm not talking about out of the Best Picture nods. I'm saying just in total of every movie I saw last year.
Oh, okay. Okay, got you.
It was 7 out of like 65 or something. Out of the new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a list?
I do have a list. Yes.
I want to see that list.
You want to see it? I'll send it.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. It was 8. 8 out of 65.
Okay, I like the fact that you were ranking this stuff. You take it very seriously. I like that.
Bro, every year my older brother and I we rank the new release movies that we watched that year, and then during New Year's we go over what our ranking is.
All right.
Like a 4-hour long conversation. But yeah, I can send it to you. I got it all the way back from 2022, I think.
All right. We have to. Me and you are gonna have to have a conversation.
Fuck yeah!
Maybe I'll be your brother. We got to have it this year. You know.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm down.
Yeah.
Like a New Year's pod, a New Year's episode.
The secret. Did you see The Secret Agent yet?
No, but you know what? I'm gonna watch that this weekend.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
I'll be able to watch it. It's on Hulu now. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch Hamnet.
It had a lot of twists and turns that were interesting.
I'm so excited because it's from everything that I've seen in terms of the people that I know that I have similar taste in with movies. The way they describe the movie as kind of this, like you said, very twisty turvy, but very throwback to 70s films. Not just because it takes place in 70s, but it feels like a 70s film in a lot of ways as well. Has made me very excited to watch it.
You know what was cool about The Secret Agent? It was the only film that I saw on the list that had one single producer. Emily.
No way.
Zef Cole. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Actually, that's really cool.
It is kind of cool. I'm like, whoa. Like all these other American films have like half a dozen producers, and then it's like you have this like massive scope of a Brazilian film. It's only got a single producer,
which I think is badass. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is kind of badass. Yeah. It's definitely old school.
I'm excited to watch it, man. I think I definitely want to watch the 3 that I'm missing, which is Secret Agent, Hamnet, and Sentimental Value. Those are the only 3 I haven't seen Best Picture wise. And those 3 movies have a lot of...
Same with me. I haven't seen Frankenstein, Hamnet, and Sentimental Value
also. Yeah.
Oh, and Train Dreams. Wow. I guess.
Oh, Train Dreams. Okay.
Train Dreams, bro.
Yeah. Train Dreams, dog. I'm telling you, that is... Where did I put that? That's 11 for me last year.
Though, Cole, I think cars are superior to trains. I don't give a shit about trains.
Damn.
I'm just joking.
Hey, you better.
These train heads are gonna.
People that love.
They're gonna come out, and the train trolls are.
Don't be shitting on them locomotives, dog. Don't be doing this, okay?
So F1 should have won over Train Dreams, given that logic of a transportation hierarchy.
Since cars are better than trains, Formula One is better. Therefore, F1 is a better movie. It should have won.
Oh man.
Nah, it's
that's the only F1 is the only one that feels like the odd duck on the.
It does, dude. I'm looking at the films that I ranked last year.
It's like who did they bribe? Who did Jerry Bruckheimer bribe to get this one?
Well, big connections, bro. I'm telling yeah, big connections right there. That's true. Shit, even like Black Bag, I thought was a better movie, a way better movie.
I didn't see Black Bag. I gotta see it. I haven't seen either one.
Man, Steven Soderbergh was on one last year. He made 2 really good movies that came out. Highly recommend both of them, Black Bag and Presence. Both really good.
Steven Soderbergh did Black Bag? Oh, Black Bag. I'm thinking of Black Phone, dude. Yeah, Black Bag. I saw Black Bag.
Black Phone. No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't like Black Phone. I
didn't see. That's what I was thinking of.
No shade.
Yeah,
to
dude, I
anyone
like
that's
Black Bag a lot. That was a really good movie.
Yeah, Black
Steven
Bag
Soderbergh film.
was awesome.
I'm a Soderbergh.
Black Bag was
guy.
awesome.
I love Steven Soderbergh.
He is one of the most interesting filmmakers ever, I think. He
Met him one
really
time.
Oh, for real? Where at?
At the IFC Center. And he was pretty cool.
That's dope. I've heard good things about him from like people that are like interviewers and stuff that have talked to him. He seems like a genuine dude.
Man, we got to get him on the pod.
Oh, that would be a dream. He is a guy that you could tell really loves movies.
Not in like a pretentious kind of like,
I'm
more up on movies than you are sort of way, you know?
Yes. And there's nothing like, some people have a certain taste and it can come off as pretentious, but the way he carries himself is just, this guy just loves movies and he loves different types of movies. And that shows in the movies he makes. And, but he's like a true cinephile. A true cinephile also. Gotta love it. Love me some Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, definitely. All right, my man. It has been a good podcast as always.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the winners last night.
And the losers.
And the losers. Shout out to them as well, because just as you lost, it doesn't mean you're not great.
Thank you for listening to the Film Situation Podcast with your host Zef Cota.